Hello, Julie from Technique Tuesday here, working on the Beautiful Narcissus. I'll be using Copic markers, which are a pretty new medium for me, so I've been learning a lot as I've prepared for this video. I've stamped my image on multimedia paper here with a water-based ink. Because many of the waterproof inks are alcohol-based, they don't work so well with the alcohol-based markers. It just blends into the color you're adding, and it gets all gross and muddy. So water-based inks are our friends here. I'm starting with the greens. For this, I chose 3 colors in the yellow-green family: YG21, YG23, and YG25. I'm starting with the lightest color, YG21, and we'll fill in all the leaves and stems. After that, I'll put in shadows with the medium color, YG23. And then I'll use the darkest color, YG25, very sparingly in the very darkest spots. I will say that the stems here are very thin, so I'm not doing detailed shading on that. When I tried, I had a really hard time keeping it in the lines, so it looked like my Narcissus would have been able to withstand a tornado or something. At any rate, next I will go back to YG21 and use it as a blender. Now, I could use an actual colorless blender to do this, but I don't really need to, as the lightest of the 3 colors works pretty well. This final layer sort of blends the 3 colors a bit, smoothing out the hard lines. Next, I'll start in on the flowers. I'm using 3 from the yellow family: Y13, Y15, and Y19. I skipped 17 for some reason. I guess I just didn't like the color when I was picking them out. Anyway, I'm starting with Y13, the lightest color, and then the medium color, Y15, then the darkest, Y19, and then I'll finally go back in with the lightest and blend them a bit. One of the things that kept me from trying Copics in the past was the fact that when I started to put down color, like I'm doing here with the yellow, it'd start out looking kind of muddy, like it is here. Tam here at the office encouraged me to keep trying, and I came back to a trial piece that I hadn't liked as I colored it, but which looked amazing once it was dry. So these yellows are going to dry to be nice and bright. Next is the orange center. I'm using 3 in the yellow-red family: YR00, YR02, and YR04. Of course, I will start with the lightest and fill in the whole shape with it. Then the medium color goes in, and because the lighter color is so light, I'm going to use a good bit of the medium. Next, the darkest, which I'll just use for a couple of shadow touches. On this piece, I'm going to add a tiny bit of the medium yellow to warm up the highlights on this orange bit, just a little bit. And then I will use the lightest of the oranges to blend everything together a little bit. And I'll keep going on the flowers until I have something that looks like this. And now I will start on the puffballs, which Tam and I have decided are thistles, so they'll be blue. And I'll start with B60, just swirl it around a bit on each of the blobs. And then I'll add a touch of B63 for the start of the shadows. And finally, some B66 for the darkest bit. One of the things I'm enjoying is playing with the shading and doing something a little like a comic book artist might do, since they use Copics a lot. The blending here starts out looking a bit muddy, as it did with the yellow, but it does actually dry nicely. Lastly, I will do the thistle stems in brown. I'm kind of thinking of them as dried thistles, I think. And because these stems are so thin, I will, once again, only do the barest bit of color, avoiding any shading because it got kind of out of control when I tried too much detail with these. Maybe as I get better with the markers, I won't have that problem quite so much. Anyway, I will keep going and it will turn out something like this. I added a touch of the blue in the little tie at the bottom, and now I'm ready to make a card or something out of it. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something. I know I did, and I may have found a new addiction while I was at it. For more tips, techniques, ideas, and inspirations, find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest, or check out our blog. Thanks again, and have a lovely day.